Welcome back to Q Dads, guys. It's me, Ben, and yes, the official trailer for Foundation Season 3 has just dropped, giving us an intense watch with the possibility of Foundation and Empire having to work together to stop the Mule. There's so much to break down, so of course, hit that subscribe button as we will be covering this show each week and giving you plenty of Foundation content. So the trailer opens up with a monologue of Harry talking about what the Foundation was designed to be and designed to become from all those years ago. Yet the audio of him speaking is stitched together and just doesn't sit right with me. Now, yes, I completely understand that in most trailers, audio tends to be stitched together for the purpose of the trailer, but it seems like that the audio of this Harry has been taken from many different conversations that he's had, and it just seems a little bit off. Now, as he talks about the coming darkness being the turning point, we then get to see a few shots of Gale and the Mule, which I must point out look like they have been reshot with the new actor in mind. But also, these ships that we saw in the teaser are now turning on themselves. Now, is this due to the mind control of the Mule and his group? Either way, the Gale wakes up from this dream to let us know that we are out of time. And this is where we then get to see a close-up version of Day, now with a full beard. Now, we must ask, which version of Cleon is this? Or, my speculation is that this is Dawn that escaped at the end of Season 2. And potentially, aided by sleepers, especially if the time jump has been 150 years, as Gale mentioned in Season 2. Or is it just another Cleon, but just a little bit more spiritual than the versions we've seen? Now, the reason why I think it's Dawn is due to the fact that we see him later in the trailer in some kind of prison, which could be him getting caught after Empire uses him as some kind of bait, or the Foundation uses him to assist in the battle against the Mule. Now, it's insinuated that we see the Mule as a child on some unknown planet, and we see him land somewhere with this group of people as he tells us about the talents that he possesses and the ability to hijack the minds of others, which is a very dangerous power. Now, it also insinuates again that Day is taken over through mind control, but I think this is just him waking up, potentially after being captured by the real Day. Again, this all stems around my theory that this bearded Day is Dawn from Season 2. Now, we see some jump ships flying away from that star, which I'm not quite sure at the moment how relevant that is or where it ties in. We see a scene of Empire shooting someone, again in that suit that we saw him in the teaser trailer. Now, I am still sticking with the Dawn theory, and if we go down the route that this was Dawn, that means that this suit is almost, one, hides his actual true identity, but two, acts as the protective aura that Empire are usually used to. He no longer has that shield around him because he's escaped Trantor, but now he's had to create his own protective shield. He's now in the streets investigating something, maybe the Empire and the growth of the Foundation. Maybe he's trying to find the Mule himself. I'm not sure, but it definitely doesn't seem like a normal Cleon to me. Either way, he rides off, and as he does, it's mentioned about controlling people's emotions, which again is a very unusual statement to make. Hate into love. Who is he talking about in this moment? Is the Mule trying to convince someone to help him? Someone that, has people hate them and he can change that, but in return, he wants something else. I'm not quite sure, still brainstorming, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. We then see a new girl who is dying in Gale's hands, presuming that this is one of her followers, another Mentalic. We then see the Mule, presumably before he turns evil, and a shot of a woman with a baby. Now again, is this the Mule's mom? Is this his wife? Or is this actually a baby of Cleon? Again, I'm not sure. Background doesn't tend to give too much away for me here about the location. We then see a man running through the chaos with a woman on his back, who is a new character, which we then see again later in the trailer as he cries with the same woman on the floor with the white hair. And this just happened after the attack on the vault, which we saw in the teaser trailer. We then get a scene where Day says darkness is coming. But is he referring to the crisis or actual darkness who comes through age? As he does say, maybe just for us. So again, is this a version of Dawn that escaped, who is, turned into day and hasn't aged in the same kind of timeline as the others? And he's now speaking to a guy who's turned to dusk. And when he refers to darkness, he's actually referring to that final stage of Empire for both of them. Now, we do know from the tools in the background that he's currently on Trantor and potentially even in Demerzel's quarters. We then get a shot of a new character, a young boy who could either be a young mule or the offspring of Empire. Again, it's too early to tell. He could even be a little brother of Harry. Who knows at this point? We do get a great fight scene in some hoverbikes. Gale then informs us about the mule's abilities, that they're basically too powerful and seem to stem around the ability to control minds, based on the look of this trailer. We then get a new love interest for Gale, a couple of shots of planets and ships and even Demerzel, and what looks like to be Day marching to a ship ready for battle. Now we then see this guy again from earlier in the trailer, who was running, and here he seems to be cradling that same woman, which again, based on the teaser that we saw a few weeks back, looks like the vault itself was shot down or, tampered with in some way, attacked. And you can tell this because of the flags on the floor. So it looks like we've either skipped forward to either the second foundation on Ignis or to the area where Terminus was. And the vault has obviously developed some greenery in the background. I don't think so. I think it is Ignis. But again, you can definitely tell we're outside the vault because of the flags, which obviously identify the barrier of the null field. We then get a shot of Brother Darkness later on, as he seems to be saying his final goodbyes, maybe even a goodbye to the Cleon the First, as Day seems to look through the chamber. Gale essentially says that she needs the Foundation and Empire to work together to beat the Mule, and after this is said, Demerzel then almost strangles her on the ship, which again looks like to be the beggar. But why would Demerzel be trying to attack Gale? Is it because she has some knowledge that she's gained from the Prime Radiant? Because remember, at the end of Season 2, she does have that with her. We then get to see a shot of a ship essentially crashing down into a planet. Based on the gardens outside, I think this is probably Trantor, and it could be potentially another planet, but I'm not 100% sure. But ultimately, it looks like the Invictus, in a way, has jumped ship to this planet to destroy it. Is this ultimately that puts the Mule on his evil trajectory? Or is this ship the cause of the Mule, and actually he is the one that is destroying the planet? Now again, we get a shot of Day tied up in this prison, and I'm fully going down the path that this is Dawn who escaped. But of course, happy to be proven wrong, so let me know in the comments who you think this is. And then we see loads of different things. As the Mule says to Harry, was this a part of his plan? We see some weird guy with a device that looks like an instrument. Again, not sure. We then see a planet being shot at and potentially destroyed. We then get Demerzel looking incredibly worried as she seems to hold one of her descendants' skulls. Now, before we end the trailer with the Mule looking at the vault on Ignis, with the flags surrounding it again, it just leaves us in even more speculation. And that's it, guys. That was the first official trailer of Season 3 of Foundation. Now, it didn't really give too much away. I think there's a lot more questions than answers. And I think Season 3 is definitely going to be giving us some backstory of the Mule, potentially how Empire was involved in the making of the Mule. And obviously, we're going to have to find out whether Empire and Foundation do work together or not. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments on this. Do you think that I was right and that the bearded Day was actually the Dawn from Season 2 that got away? Or again, is it just a more spiritual version of Cleon? And how do you think Demerzel's journey is going to be in Season 3? Especially with her having the Prime Radiant and then finding out that some of her descendants are on some kind of battlefield or their remains are readily available. And is she technically now going to be the third person that Foundation and Empire have to work against to stop? Are we ultimately going down the route of a Mule versus Demerzel show now instead? No idea, just speculating, throwing those theories out like we do, because that's what we do here at QDads. So again, let me know in the comments your thoughts. Thanks for watching as always, and if you are really looking forward to Foundation and you want to know a little bit about more, and you want to know a little bit more about what happened, I am currently in the middle of a rewatch. Head over to the channel to catch up with the whole of season 1 and bring you up to date with season 2. And I've even got some more interesting videos about Empire Harry and one coming soon about Demerzel. So hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time with something new.